The stars above Earth were quiet. No ships came. No messages. No help. The galaxy had moved on and left Earth behind. Long ago, humans had spread across the stars. They built shining cities on new worlds. They formed a great council, ruled by noble queens and powerful families. They said they were the future of humanity. But they said Earth was weak and broken. They rejected Earth. Now, Earth was silent, forgotten. But under the silence, something else was growing. Logan Carter stood near the edge of a high cliff, looking down at the steel rooftops of the mountain base below. Gray ships slept in their docks. Soldiers marched in cold lines. He wore black armor, simple and hard, eyes sharp. He had trained in the deep tunnels of the Earth Council, where fire and noise had been his teachers. Behind him, a voice came. It was calm, but strong. "You're ready to light the fuse, aren't you?" Claire Bennett stepped up beside him. She wore no crown, but everyone called her the Queen of the Last Council. She ruled from the shadows. She had saved Earth once, long ago when the first food wars had started. Now she led again. Logan didn't smile. "We waited too long already. They left us. They laughed at us. Now they'll hear us." Claire looked out at the stars. "The galaxy thinks we are quiet because we are weak. But we were silent because we were building. We were healing. We were remembering." Far away, in the deserts of old America, a ship broke through the sand. Black dust flew into the air as the old warship lifted from the ground for the first time in 20 years. Children in nearby shelters stared in shock as the engines roared like thunder. In orbit, secret satellites turned back on. They pointed at the distant colonies that had forgotten their home. Messages were sent in old codes the council families no longer used. But there were still humans out there who remembered Earth. They would understand. In a hidden hangar, Jason Hale, a former pilot exiled from the colonies, climbed into a seat that felt like home. His hands ran over the controls of a fighter ship called the Iron Wind. It was old, but fast, deadly. Jason smiled to himself. They said Earth was nothing. I'd say it's everything. On the cold side of the moon, hidden bases lit up. Thousands of soldiers walked in silence, loading weapons, preparing. They were not clean and perfect like the troops of the royal houses, but they were tough, real. Raised in ruins and trained in pain, Claire walked through the command center. The screens showed the galaxy, bright dots for each world. Most were red. Enemy held. She stopped before the center screen. Earth was at the edge, blue dot, small, alone. One of the commanders looked at her. "Do we send the signal?" She didn't blink. "Send it, all of it. Let them know we're not asking anymore." Logan stood on the deck of the first warship, now fully awake. The engines hummed. The guns were armed. The crew was ready, he whispered to himself. They said, "We were forgotten, but they'll never forget us after this." The stars had turned their backs on Earth. Now Earth was turning toward the stars, and it was not coming in peace. In the deep center of the galaxy, there were great cities built among the stars. These cities floated around golden planets, full of lights and towers so tall they touched the sky. They were ruled by powerful families, each led by a queen. These queens were proud, strong, and cold. They believed only they had the right to guide the future of humans. Earth was not part of their plan. In one of the largest city worlds, Queen Evelyn Reese stood in her hall. Her silver cloak dragged across the shining floor as she walked. Soldiers in gold armor stood guard, silent like statues. Her eyes were fixed on a screen showing Earth's system. She had seen the signal. She had heard the message. "They are moving," said a man beside her. His name was Adrian Knox, a royal advisor. His face was pale and worried. "They are activating old fleets. They sent warnings to the outer systems. This cannot be ignored." Evelyn did not answer right away. Her fingers tapped the table slowly. She remembered Earth. She had read the old history. Earth had once ruled all. Then it fell. Then the noble houses rose and decided Earth was too wild, too full of chaos, too free. "They warned us," Evelyn said softly. "We did not listen. Now they do not warn. Now they come." Back on Earth, deep in the mountain command center, Claire Bennett stood before a room full of commanders. The room was made of steel and stone. Screens showed fleet positions. Light lines moved across star maps. Claire's face was calm. "Our first target," she said, "is Station Halden. They use it to watch all movement near the rim. We take their eyes." One of the officers asked, "What of the people there?" Claire answered, without pause, "We give them a choice. Join us or leave. No one gets hurt unless they draw first blood." Logan Carter stood at the back of the room, arms crossed, had grown harder since the plan began. Nights with no sleep, hours of training, did not care for talking. He was waiting for action. The room fell silent as Claire gave the final order. Launch. Far above Earth, the black ship Liberty's Reach opened its wings. Jason Hale sat in the pilot chair. His face showed no fear, only fire. The ship moved fast, with 5 others behind it, heading toward the stars like arrows. As they crossed into deep space, they were met by the first patrol from the noble houses. 2 fast ships tried to block their path. Jason's voice came through the comm. "Turn around. This is not your fight." The patrol did not move. Jason nodded to his gunner. A flash of red light filled space. 1 patrol ship exploded. The second one turned and ran. The fleet moved on. In the Throne World's council hall, the queens gathered. Some were angry, some were afraid. Evelyn stood in the middle and raised her hand. "They do not want peace," said one queen with sharp eyes. "They want war. They want respect," Evelyn replied. "And we gave them none. They are dirt, they are fire and ash. They should not have power." Evelyn looked at her. "That fire will reach us. You may deny it, but it will burn all the same." Back near the edge of the galaxy, Earth's ships reached their first target. The battle for Station Halden began, and the stars started to change. The sky above Station Halden turned dark as Earth's ships moved in. The station was large, built like a ring with metal arms stretching in every direction. It was the eye of the Throne World, watching the edge of the galaxy. For years, no one had dared attack it, until now. Jason Hale led the assault. He flew the Liberty's Reach straight through the defense wall. The enemy opened fire. Blue beams crossed the black sky. But Jason's ship moved fast, dodging like a shadow. The fighters behind him broke into 2 groups and attacked the station's main guns. Inside the station, alarms screamed. Soldiers in silver uniforms ran to their posts. Captain Morgan, the leader of the station, looked at the screen. The Earth ships were moving like no one expected. They did not follow the rules of war. They hit fast and hard. "They are using old codes," Morgan said. "They know how we think." He called the Throne World for help, but no answer came. It's too far, too late. On the other side of the station, Logan Carter and his strike team landed inside the main dock. They wore black armor. Their boots hit the ground with force. They moved like hunters. A group of station guards met them. The first shots rang out. Logan fired 2 quick rounds and dropped a guard before he could speak. His team moved forward, clearing halls and breaking control panels. "We take the command center," Logan said. No delay. As the fight raged inside, Jason flew above the station, giving orders to the fleet. One of his pilots was hit. The ship spun out and crashed into a dock. Jason saw it and felt the heat rise in his chest. He dived low and fired at the enemy turrets. The station shook from the blasts. In the heart of the command center, Claire Bennett's voice came through a hacked screen. "This is Claire Bennett of Earth. Lay down your arms. We do not want to kill our own. You have 10 minutes. Captain Morgan stood still. His officers looked at him. "They are Earthborn," one of them said. "Like us." Morgan's hands shook. He had grown up in the inner systems, taught that Earth was lost, taught that Earth was wrong, but now he saw the truth. Earth was not dead. It was rising. He lowered his weapon. "All units stand down," he said. Logan entered the command room minutes later. No more shots were fired. The station was theirs. Back on the Throne World, Queen Evelyn watched the report in silence. The other queens were shouting in the Grand Hall. They wanted revenge. They wanted to crush Earth before more systems joined them. Evelyn raised her hand. "The station was not destroyed," she said. "They gave mercy. They offered surrender." "They want to take our place," another queen said. "They want to rule. They want justice," Evelyn replied. "Maybe we should have listened when they asked for peace." But it was too late for peace now. The fall of Station Halden sent a wave through the galaxy. News spread fast. On far colonies, workers cheered. On quiet moons, old flags of Earth were raised. People began to remember where they came from. But the real war was just beginning. The battle for Station Halden was only the start. The galaxy was changing fast, and more systems began to question their loyalty to the Queens. Some sent secret messages to Earth, asking for help. Others quietly prepared for war. On the ground of a small planet called Celis, Logan Carter led a team of soldiers through rough, rocky terrain. They moved carefully between cliffs, hiding from enemy patrols. The Queen's forces were strong there. They had better weapons and more soldiers. But Logan's team had something the others did not hope in: fierce determination. "We cannot let them control this planet," Logan said to his team. "If Celis falls, the whole rim will fall." The soldiers nodded. They were tired, but ready. Each had their own reason to fight. Some for family, some for revenge, some for Earth's future. Suddenly, a squad of enemy soldiers appeared at the top of the ridge, guns raised. Logan shouted a command. His team spread out and fired.
Oh.
The fight was quick and brutal. When the smoke cleared, several enemy soldiers lay on the ground. But Logan's team had losses too. He took a deep breath and moved forward. "Keep pushing. Will he hold the high ground?" Meanwhile, in the cold halls of the Throne World's data center, Jason Hale and a small group of pilots and hackers prepared for their most dangerous mission. They planned to enter the heart of the Queen's network, a place full of secrets and power. Jason looked at the screen. "If we get inside, we can find out why they truly fear Earth. We can find the weakness." The team nodded. They knew the risks. If they were caught, it would mean death or worse. But Jason believed it was worth the risk. The Liberty's Reach and two other ships moved quietly toward the Throne World. Their shields were low to avoid detection. The tension was thick. Jason's voice was steady. "Stay close. We get in, get the data, and get out. No heroics." They slipped through the defenses like ghosts. But when they reached the core, alarms blared. The Queen's fleet was waiting. The battle turned fierce. Jason's pilots fought hard, dodging laser fire and enemy fighters. Inside the data core, the hackers worked fast. They pulled files from the Queen's private vaults. What they found shocked them. The Queens were not afraid because Earth was weak. They feared Earth because of its strength, because Earth's people could adapt, learn fast, and fight with raw passion. They feared the human spirit that could not be controlled. Jason read the files aloud. They wanted to lock Earth away, to keep its fire from burning the galaxy. Outside, the fleet was running low on ammo and fuel. Jason gave the order to retreat. The ships pulled back under heavy fire. Several were lost. Back on Celis, Logan and his team had won the hill, but knew more battles were coming. The Queen's forces were not giving up. The fight would be long and bloody. In Earth's command center, Claire Bennett received the news. She stood silent for a moment, then spoke. "We are not just fighting for Earth. We are fighting for all who want freedom." The Queens ruled with fear. Now they will learn what it means to face fire. The galaxy was no longer quiet. Earth's war had begun in truth, and no one could stop it now. The final battle was near. The Queen's fleet gathered above the Throne World like a dark storm. It was the largest force the galaxy had ever seen, 10 times bigger than Earth's small fleet. The Queens believed this would end the war once and for all. On the bridge of the Liberty's Reach, Jason Hale looked out at the massive ships. His hands gripped the controls, but his face was calm. He turned to his crew and said, "This is what we trained for. They think they can crush us with numbers. They don't know what it means to fight for home." Below, on the Throne World's surface, Claire Bennett stood with her soldiers. She wore no crown, but everyone called her the Steel Queen. Her eyes burned with fire. She spoke to her troops in a voice strong and clear. "We fight not for power or gold. We fight for Earth, for every family, for every hope. We fight because they rejected us once. Now, our fate is theirs to decide." The soldiers cheered. They were tired, but their hearts were full. They had come too far to turn back. In space, the battle began with a storm of fire and light. Ships moved like deadly birds. Lasers cut through darkness. Explosions shook the stars. Earth's ships were smaller and older, but they were fast and smart. They used surprise attacks and tricky moves the Queens never expected. Jason led the charge. He dodged enemy fire and struck at the biggest ships. One by one, the Queen's ships fell, but more kept coming. The battle was fierce and costly. On the ground, Claire's forces fought through the city's streets. The Queen's guards were well trained, but Claire's soldiers had heart. They pushed forward, block by block. She moved with them, fearless and strong. Suddenly, a squad of enemy soldiers surrounded her group, guns raised. Claire didn't flinch. She raised her hand and shouted, "For Earth!" Her soldiers fired together, breaking the enemy line. Claire charged forward, leading the attack. Her voice was a battle cry that shook the air. In space, the Queens sent their last weapon, a giant ship called the Iron Crown. It was built in secret, armed with weapons powerful enough to destroy whole fleets. It moved toward Earth's fleet with deadly speed. Jason saw it on the scanner. "The Iron Crown," he said. "We have one chance. We hit it now or we lose everything." He gathered his best pilots. Together, they flew straight at the Iron Crown. The enemy fired everything they had, but Jason's team moved like shadows, fast and precise. They hit the ship's weak points and set explosions inside. The Iron Crown shook and then exploded in a fireball that lit the sky. With the Iron Crown destroyed, the Queen's fleet began to fall apart. Some ships fled, others surrendered. Battle was won. On the throne world, Queen Evelyn Reese stepped forward. She looked at Claire with tired eyes. "You have one," she said. "But the galaxy is not yours yet." Claire shook her head. "The galaxy belongs to no one. Belongs to all who fight for it." Evelyn nodded slowly and turned away. The Queen's power was broken. Earth raised a new flag, not of conquest, but of warning. They had been rejected once. Now they stood strong. The fire of Earth was alive and burning brighter than ever. The war was over. But the story of Earth had just begun.